as a culture, we value the big wins way more than the small wins that we achieve on a daily basis. If you think about it, it's much more attractive. It's much more compelling to talk about somebody who's won the lottery versus someone who just made a few $100s or a few dollars a day. But this mindset has, I think, important consequences if you run a business, any business, but particularly a professional services business. For instance, I want to use some of my personal examples to illustrate how that mindset limits your growth potential, and then we can talk about what to do differently. But when I started MetaHelm, the model I was operating under was engagements that were projects, sometimes hourly engagements, but most of them were projects. And I was running MetaHelm with a very small amount of clients that would purchase from me significant projects, 5 to sometimes 6-figure projects. And so every time I would sign a new contract for such a project, it was a huge achievement for me. And I would only celebrate those achievements when the contract was signed, the deposit processed, and money on my bank account. That's my rule. I never celebrate anything until the deal is actually sealed. And so I would celebrate only the big wins. And I noticed that the big wins are, first of all, they happen not very frequently. How often do you sign a big contract for your firm? Maybe your scale is bigger than mine. It doesn't matter, but proportionally, what I mean is big wins you can only celebrate once in a while. So the question is, how do you celebrate? What do you celebrate? How do you keep the motivation and the excitement high for operating your business? And when you only chase the big things, the big projects, the big ideals. I took the example of these projects, but here is another example. I wrote a book called Strategic Narrative, simple methods that business leaders can use to explain their business, get everybody behind it and believe in it. And you can see this ebook. It's an ebook. You can download it on my website. I read it for you on YouTube. It's a 13 minutes video. And same here. I spent quite a bit of time writing this very short book, because writing a short book actually takes a lot more time than writing a longer book. The say, sorry, I didn't have time to write a shorter letter. And there was a big achievement. I only celebrated writing that content after I was done. Although he had taken me all those steps and those days of writing and distilling that content and that piece. Another example is that I want to share with you is when we come up with an idea, we look for the big ideas. We look for the big things, the ideas that we believe are just breakthroughs. And we wait for those moments where we have ahas, epiphanies. And the question in those 3 examples is, what do we do in between, right? If we only focus on the big things, how do we celebrate our businesses? How do we show our gratitude for the successes that we enjoy and the wealth and the value we create? To me, that's a key question for how we operate our businesses, because that poses a threat to the sustainability of our businesses. If you have to wait a long time to celebrate something big, what do you do in between? It's a little bit like when you wait for when you wait to win the lottery, or when you wait to exit your company and sell your business for X amount of money, how do you fuel your excitement? How do you fuel your joy on a daily basis? Like, wait for retirement also. That's another example here. On the other hand, the all of the little things you do every day, all the little steps you take, they're just like small reps, similar to how you repeat the same movements when you exercise. You lift weights, or you do push-ups, or you do squats up and down, or you're gonna walk. If you go to the gym one day, and you come back, did it make any difference in how you feel? Maybe you don't feel any difference. And then you go to the gym the next day, and then you come back. Did you notice anything? Did you lose more weight? Maybe not a lot. But what really matters is the compounding effect of those small things, those small steps, those small wins, those small achievements that you do on a daily basis. They are like small deposits on a savings account. You know, they look unnoticed. They're small things, small chunks of money, but over a lifetime, it creates this massive impact, positive impact on your life. And so it's the same for what we do in our businesses. On my journal, and as you may know, if you've been following me, I journal every day. I journal to organize my thoughts. I journal to organize, manage, and budget my time on a daily basis. I journal to capture my vision. That's what I call the practice of visionary leadership. So journaling is one of the disciplines in the practice of visionary leadership. And on that journal, I have there is an area, a weekly area, to capture what are the most important wins. And I noticed that I tended to wait until I have actually big wins. And some week here at MetaHelm, we don't necessarily have what I consider or what one would consider big wins, like a a new client, or like a new significant client, or so it happened that I had weeks when the page where I have a space to celebrate, to write down what were the biggest achievements, remains empty, remains blank. So it's dead. So when you see this, you're like, well, nothing good happened, right? It just puts you in mindset in this negative mindset, in fact, and in the mindset of discouragement, right? It just pulls you down. It just brings you down, because there is nothing in appearance. Apparently there is nothing good. You see an empty page. So I started thinking about how I can look more carefully at the small steps, the small things that I do on a daily basis that create that compounding positive effect for MetaHelm, for my business, and what will eventually create a company that is to a certain size. And so I started to really pay attention to the small wins, the small things, the subtle, unnoticed, kind of standard things that I do on a daily basis, and listing them, and realize that there is a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of them that I can actually, and that I now celebrate on a daily basis. So I want to give you some examples, so that maybe this inspires you to find your own, and to focus on the small wins versus the big wins. Also, don't get me wrong, if you've got big things happening, please go ahead and celebrate, throw a big party or whatever, or just do a dance, or open your favorite bottle, or or hug people around you, whatever might work. But for the small stuff here, here are some thoughts about what I do celebrate. I celebrate publishing on a frequent and constant basis. I celebrate every single client call. And, I have a coaching program. I do workshops. I do also custom engagements with my clients. And I celebrate every single moment that I have with my clients, that I'm face to face with an audience, because I know that I'm spending time that is valued by these people to increase the sentiment of happiness and pride. I actually select my clients very carefully. I make sure that there is a strong fit. And if there is not a good fit, I gently and kindly tell people that I don't think this would be a good spend, a good a good way for them to spend their money on a service that is not a good fit for them. So I do this, and I celebrate those actions and choices and decisions every time. What do I do? How do I celebrate those little things? I'm just gonna mention some ways, but then I'll keep giving you some examples. I just tell myself. I just here I have in my office, I have I actually do have a few little candles like this one, right? And so I light a candle because fire is a symbol of life, of joy. I can't open this candle. Sorry, I'm trying to open this candle, but it's the wax just sealed it for some reason. So I light a candle. I meditate. I say a a prayer. Sorry. Uh, um, I do. I write it down. I cultivate the art and the habit of tracking little things on a daily habit tracker, so that I don't wait for my legacy to be achieved, and I don't wait to celebrate my legacy, but I actually leave my legacy now, every day, every moment, every hour. So here are some other examples. I celebrate a new piece of content, a new system I created. I celebrate having had having a good day, or at the end of the day, I worked joyfully and I had a full day full of ideas. I celebrate these things, these little things, just like I celebrate yet another rep when I work out with my trainer, and he pushes me to do another push-up, or maybe do another round of deadlifts, or another minute of a plank. I celebrate the incremental additional little effort that I can put into creating a business that is meaningful, that has a mission to turn every organization into a source of inspiration that few can resist. I celebrate the place where I work. So really, I integrate this culture of gratitude on a constant basis. I don't turn it into an event. I make it a process. A process is ongoing. I talked earlier about a practice and a discipline, and that's what I am focusing on doing. That's what I cultivate every day, and that's why I encourage you to do. You will see big changes if you start doing this. You will see more joy, more smile, easier ways to run your company. What I'm talking about in this video is a change in narrative. Is a change because you might wonder, like, what does this have to do with strategic narrative? And what I am talking about right now is a change in the narrative that we have about success and celebrating achievement, and looking at the way we communicate, we see success. The old narrative is wait for the big things to happen. Don't celebrate anything before the big things happen. The new narrative is many small things are worth celebrating on a daily basis, and you should celebrate them all the time, anytime they happen, right? So old narrative, new narrative. Those narratives really influence the way we make decisions, the way we live, the way we decide to do certain things, because they are based on different value systems, right? We value different things. Do we value only big things, or do we value small things also? And the compounding effect of all those small things that we accumulate on a regular basis. So that's the connection, and that's what I mean by looking at narrative from a strategy standpoint. This example could be very well the new strategy for how you operate as a team, right? We talk about people strategy, HR strategy, how we onboard people, how we develop talent. And I would argue that how you reward people based on success, how you celebrate success, is part of your people strategy. And that's that narrative that really shapes that strategy, right? So this is an example of a narrative that is of strategic importance for your company. That's what I call a strategic narrative. Now, this narrative, I just framed it around culture and people. But if you think about it, you can apply it to the outside world, outside of your company. How do you celebrate your clients' success, right, on a daily basis? How do you celebrate them showing relentlessly to your coaching program, or having better meetings, having better making better decisions, making better investments if you are a financial advisor, or specifying their software requirements if you are an information technology company, right? These are just a few examples. How do you help them, celebrate their success, their little success, so that they keep their momentum going? That's really, really critical. How do you celebrate those successes? So I hope this video helps you and helps you shape the culture of your professional services firm differently. This has had a major impact on MetaHelm. This is an example of how I've transformed the way I grow this organization, and how I attract the right clients, how I attract the right team members as I'm starting to grow MetaHelm team and the MetaHelm team, and looking at who I want to hire and bring on board. I hope this helps, and as always, I'm looking forward to reading your comments and reading your thoughts, listening and hearing your thoughts about those ideas. All right, thank you so much.